phones. Please look at them, because sometimes we think they're off and they're not, so please do that. If you have to leave the cafeteria during the performance when someone's on stage, please exit through the back of the cafeteria so we don't disturb the storytellers. Bathrooms are located in the hall out there. Important stuff. Feel free to take video of the performance. I have 2 chairs in the second rows here, the outside chairs reserved for videotaping. So if you're far back and your child's on stage and you want to get closer, please feel free to move up to those chairs and then move back when you're done. But we do have LakeCAM here videotaping for us tonight, so it will be on television. Thank you, LakeCAM. Let's see. Do not stand in the middle of the aisle to take pictures, please, or take video. It's very distracting to the storytellers. As I said, LakeCAM's here tonight. I'll send you out the information when it's on TV with the link. I'll email that to you. During intermission, we will have first half of the festival intermission, and just before intermission, I'm going to ask the storytellers to come up here and take a group photo, so be ready for that. And then we'll have about a 10, 15-minute intermission. We have snacks back there and drinks. Please don't wander around the school with the food. I appreciate that, as do the custodians. And at the end of the, when we come back from intermission, we'll finish the second half of the stories, and then we'll have a short awards ceremony. So, it's going to be a wonderful night. So, now that that's all done, I say good evening again, and thank you for coming. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Karen Chase, and I am the director of the storytelling program here since 2012. I started out at the elementary school in 2002, so it's been quite a while that I've been doing this. And every year, the new batch of storytellers are always so wonderful. But as they say, many hands make light work. And this evening wouldn't be possible without the support of our principal, Dr. Sullivan, the teachers of GRAIS, Diane Zapiga, the director of the Community Rec Program, who does so many things, really has a clue how many things she does, and the Freetown Local Cultural Council, who offer financial support for this program, and all of you. I'm so thankful to everyone. Also, I mentioned our custodians earlier. They set up this cafeteria, they hang the banner, they do a wonderful job. I can always count on them. And countless thanks to my husband, Ray, best roadie ever. He always supports me and helps me, and most importantly, supporting the students. And my grandson, Mason, who's taking charge of the refreshments tonight, and it's sound check for me. Thank you, Mason, for being here. Now, at the beginning of each class, I asked one student to recite our Storyteller's Pledge, and they all enthusiastically share the last line together. So tonight, I've asked one of our 4th grade students, Eva Brightman. Eva, would you join me up here, please? Eva is going to read the pledge with the storytellers sharing the last line.
As a storyteller and story listener, I give myself permission to have fun, laugh, take risks, make mistakes, tell stories. I know stories connect us, and I am connected to stories.
Let the story begin!
Let the stories begin indeed. Thank you, Eva. That was wonderfully done. Our first storytellers tonight are both in the 5th grade and with me for their 2nd year. They are 2 remarkable young women who are friends both in and out of school. So it was an easy decision for them to tell in tandem last year and this year. They perform together, and I love their energy and sense of fun they bring to this story. They are always thinking about what they can add to make it better, asking me different questions during class. Can we try this? Can we try that? It's always so much fun. Please welcome the dynamic duo of Aria Pereira and Shania Picard sharing this fun folktale from Peru.
Shania Picard.
And I'm Aria Pereira.
And we're going to be telling you the story of Fox
And Guinea Pig.
There are many tricksters around the world, and this story just happens to have one. So I'm going to ask all of you a question. Who do you think would be the trickster here, guinea pig or fox?
Fox.
Normally it would be fox, but in Peru it would actually be guinea pig. And fox is just her wicked best friend, and just so happens to be the victim of guinea pig's pranks.
Guinea Pig had been raiding a farmer's home for several nights, stealing food whenever the farmer and his wife were asleep. But the farmer was a tricky fellow himself. So instead of setting traps, which he knew a clever thief could avoid, he took tar and he built it into the shape of a guard. He placed it where Guinea Pig could not help but see it.
Sure enough, guinea pig did see the figure, but she couldn't tell it was just made of tar because it was so dark out. So she watched and waited until she thought to herself, "There's no guard, there's no thief trying to steal my place." No answer. "Hey you, get out of here." No answer. "Are you deaf? I said get out of here or I'll hit you."
No answer. Guinea Pig hit the figure and his right paw got stuck to the tar. He hit it again and his left paw got stuck to the tar. He kicked it and now he was completely stuck to the tar. While he was stuck, along came Fox. "What are you doing?" Fox said.
"Why, I'm waiting to marry farmer's daughter, and I'm waiting for this magical tar to make me grow taller. Can't wear it now, I'm too short."
"Marry the farmer's daughter? That could mean all the food a fox could want. Let me marry her. I'm already taller than you. The tar will make me super tall."
"Well, I don't know."
"Please?"
"Well, I guess." So Fox freed Guinea Pig from the tar and stuck himself to it instead.
And when Fox woke up in the morning, before he could get away, the farmer had caught him. "Guinea Pig tricked me," Fox said. "Oh, there he is now, standing by that rock."
Guinea Pig saw Fox running towards him, so he quickly pretended to be pushing against the rock before saying, "There you are, just in time."
"What are you doing?" Fox asked.
"If I let this rock go, it'll smash the whole village, and I can't hold it much longer. I'm too short."
"Weakling," Fox taunted, "let someone stronger hold the rock." So Guinea Pig walked away, leaving Fox pushing against the rock, and pushing against the rock, and pushing against the rock. "This is boring," Fox said. So then he slowly let go of the rock. And guess what happened? Nothing. "Guinea Pig tricked me again," Fox said. "Oh, there he is now, digging a burrow."
"There you are, just in time. Quickly, get in here, it's gonna rain fire."
"Fire?" Fox said. "Are you sure?"
Yes, it's gonna rain fire."
And then Fox felt something hit his back. What was that? He felt something hit his leg. "Ow, it's raining fire!"
So Fox crawled into the hole and hid.
"I wonder if it stopped raining fire," Fox said. So then he got out of the hole. And guess what he saw? Thorns, nothing but thorns. "Oh, no. Guinea Pig threw thorns at me so I would crawl in the hole and think it's raining fire to let him escape once again. When I find him, I'll trick him."
Even though Fox has been chasing Guinea Pig till this day, he still hasn't caught him. The end.
I told you, dynamic duo. What a wonderful job, ladies. I knew they were the perfect choice to open us up tonight. Now, our next performer is a 4th grade student with me for his first year. Now, Ben is fairly quiet in class and always willing to participate in every classroom activity, but he was, so quiet and a little reserved that I was concerned when it was time for him to get up and practice his story for the first time. I was wondering if I would be able to hear him, if he would be clear enough. Well, from the first moment he opened his mouth, I almost fell off my chair. I couldn't believe how clear and crisp he was. So strong, such a wonderful storyteller. Boy, did I misread Ben. So please welcome Ben Avila sharing a folktale from Suriname.
Hello, my name is Ben Avila, and I will be telling you the story of the King of the Birds. Once, long ago, The birds came together to decide who should be king. The lion was the ruler of the land, but they needed to rule the sky. So, Lion asked how they wanted to settle this. Falcon suggested a flying competition. Another bird suggested a singing competition, but since God gave them all wings, they went with the flying competition. Before the competition, sneaky as a snake, Coonabri flew onto Falcon's back. The race started. They flew higher and higher and higher and higher. Once all the birds landed, they looked up and saw Falcon still flying. Falcon shall be named our king. They looked up closer and saw Coonabri on the top of Falcon's back. No, Coonabri shall be named our king. They flew down and named Coonabri the Smart One their king. The end.
Can't get more confident than that. Great job, Ben. Thank you so much. Our next storyteller, the 5th grade student with me for her first year. Now, unfortunately, Jalen was absent for our first class, and so she was a bit shocked the second class when she realized she wouldn't be able to read her story. She was going to have to tell her story. I asked her to trust me that I would help her be ready, and ready she is. A very talented storyteller. She complements this folktale from England with her timing, gestures, and vocal expressions. Please welcome Jalen Ouellette sharing a folktale from the United Kingdom.
Hello, I'm Jalen Ouellette, and I'll be telling the story of Tommy Knockers. Tommy Knockers are the spirits of departed miners that help miners find ore. They also knock on the walls of a cave, right before a cave-in. If you hear a Tommy Knocker knocking, it's best to depart the area quickly. They've saved the life of many miners who have been in danger, and they can save you too. It's best to stay on the good side of the Tommy Knocker, because they can be very spiteful creatures if they don't like you. Some people even leave a bit of their lunch for the Tommy Knockers, just so they won't be mad at them. But one unlucky miner named Eddie was targeted by the Tommy Knockers. They stole his tools, blew out his lantern, and just kept untying his shoelaces. He didn't know why they had singled him out until one day he heard from a dark shaft. Eddie, I want my $5. It sounded just like that of his old friend Joe, who had died in a cave-in a few months back. He had borrowed $5 from Joe and had never returned it. That's when he saw him. He was shrunk into a 2-foot dwarf with a big, ugly head, large ears, and a long, crooked nose. He had a leather jacket, a leather peaked hat, and water-soaked leather boots. Eddie, I want my $5. I don't got any money on me, Joe, said Eddie. I've heard that before. I didn't believe it then, and I don't believe it now, said Joe, disappearing into the darkness, leaving an uneasy Eddie to finish his work for the day. He didn't know what would happen next. He soon found out. All day long, he was plagued by the Tommy Knockers. They shook his ladder so hard, he almost fell. He almost missed being hit by a rock fall, but through it all, his voice would haunt him. Eddie, I want my $5. All right, Joe, all right. I'll get you your $5. Abandoning work for the day, Eddie took the long climb back to the surface, went to his car, and took out $5 he kept under the passenger side seat. He closed the door and took a long climb back down. Here's your money, Joe, said Eddie, putting it in a small crack in the wall where he saw him last. It's about time, said Joe, appearing next to him, peering where the money lay. "Are you gonna leave me alone now?" said Eddie. "Maybe," said Joe, disappearing into the darkness.
Amazing. Thank you, Janet. Perfect timing. Just lovely. Our next storyteller is sharing a folktale from Nigeria. And when I first met her, I noticed right away that she was a little bit shy. She needed some extra encouragement along the way, but when she stepped up to tell her story for the first time in her group, our group in class, I was so pleasantly surprised. She had such a lovely elegance about her. She was poised and clear, took direction, and her confidence continued to grow. I am delighted she is with us tonight. You've already met her, but please welcome her again, Eva Brightman, sharing a Nigerian folktale.
Hello, my name is Eva Brightman, and I'll be telling the story, Why the Sun and Moon Live in the Sky. Long ago, the sun and moon were very good friends with water, but water never came to their house. So one day, sun and moon asked water, "Why don't they come to our house for a change?" Water said, "Well, if you want to come into our house, you would need to make it a lot bigger." After a time, sun and moon asked again, "Water, can you come in my house?" He said, "Well, if you want me to come in your house, you would need to make it a lot bigger." After then, sun and moon made it a lot bigger. Water finally said, "I can come in now." Water started to flow in, and it was knee deep. Sun and moon went upstairs to the roof. As soon as water started to flow down, sun and moon realized that they couldn't get back down. So, water was covering all the rooms. Then the sun and moon couldn't get out of the roof. That's why the sun and moon live in the sky.
That's what we call a pourquoi story, why something is the way it is. Thank you so much, Eva. Lovely. Now, our next teller is with us for his first year as well. Another fourth grade student. He jumped right in and actually ended up selecting the longest story to tell. He was completely undaunted and has done an amazing job crafting this story. It has been a delight to have him as part of the program. Please welcome Keegan Baker sharing a fairy tale from Germany.
Hello, my name is Keegan Baker, and I will be performing the story of Rumpelstiltskin. There once was a miller, and that miller had a daughter who was very shrewd and clever, and one day told the king that his daughter could spin straw into gold. Now, this king was very fond of money, and was sent out for the girl to be brought before him. He led her to a chamber in his palace where there was a great heap of straw, and said, "All this must be spun by morning." The maiden tried to convince the king that it was only a silly boast of her father, and she could do no such thing as spin straw into gold. The king would not listen, and shut the chamber door and left. A dwarf soon came in after, and said, "My lass, what are you weeping for?" The maiden replied, "I must spin straw into gold, and I know not how." "What will you give me," said the dwarf, "to do it for you?" "The ring on my finger," the maiden replied. The dwarf took the ring and began at the wheel, whistled and sang. Round about, lo and behold, reel away, straw into gold. Long before morning, all was done. When the king came in, he was very delighted and pleased. When he saw this, he had not enough, though. So he gave the maiden yet a larger heap and said, "All this must be spun by morning." And she was left alone again. But the dwarf did come back. And the dwarf said, "What will you give me to do this task a second time?" "My necklace," replied the maiden. The dwarf took it and whistled and sang. Round about, lo and behold, reel away, straw into gold. Still, long before morning, all was done. The next day, the king came in to see this and was very astonished to see all his glittering treasure. But he still had not enough and gave her yet a larger heap and said, "You have to spin this all tonight, and if you do, you shall be my queen." The dwarf came in again and said, "What will you give me to do this task a third time?" The queen said, "I have nothing left." "Then say," said the dwarf, "you will give me the first child you may have as queen." As the maiden knew no other way to get out of this, she agreed to what he said, and she really did become queen. At the birth of her first little child, she forgot all about what the dwarf said. But the dwarf soon came in one day and reminded her of it. When she heard this, she was very, very sad. She said she would give him all the wealth in the kingdom if he would let her off. But still she made a deal. At last her tears softened him, and he said, "I will give you 3 days' grace, and if within that time you can tell me my name, you shall keep your child." The queen sent out messengers to find new names, and she lay awake all night thinking of names that he could have possibly had. The next morning when the dwarf came in, she started with Tom, Jeremiah, Benjamin, but to all of them which he said, "Madam, that is not my name." The next night, she was thinking of all the comical names she could have heard of. Bandylegs, Crookshank, Hunchback, but to all of them which he said, "Madam, that is not my name." The third night, a messenger came back and said, "I have traveled 3 days without finding any names, but this evening I found a name. There is a little funny dwarf dancing around a fire outside of a hut, singing and dancing merrily. Merrily a feast I make, today I brew, tomorrow I bake. Merrily I'll dance and sing, next day will a stranger bring. Little does my lady dream, Rumpelstiltskin is my name." When the queen heard this, she was very, very, very joyful. And the next day, she tried to act like she heard nothing. When the dwarf came in, he chuckled at the thought of having the poor child. The queen gathered the whole court to have the fun. They started with Bob, It's your Bob, Jeremiah, but to all of them which he said, "Madam, that is not my name." But then, at last, the queen said, "Could your name be Rumpelstiltskin?" The dwarf was furious.
Some witch told you that. Some witch told you that.
He stamped his foot so hard into the ground, he had to lay a hold with both hands to pull it out. The dwarf left very angrily. The queen said, "Have a merry feast, Mr. Rumpelstiltskin."
Great job. That is probably one of the longest stories that's ever been told at the festivals. You've done a very great job with that, Keegan. Thank you so much. Our next teller is with me for her first year, a fourth grade student. She's an effervescent young lady, always entering class with a smile and an air of excitement. One week she was absent, and when she came in the next week, she immediately asked me, "Did I miss anything? Did I miss anything?" I love her commitment to the program. Please welcome Lily Morse sharing a folk tale from Germany.
One night, a very poor shoemaker cut out two pairs of finely cut shoes. Before he drifted to sleep. In the morning, he was shocked to find two pairs of finely sewn with the finest of stitches shoes. They were so beautiful and sewn so wellly, they had no trouble selling both pairs that day. In the morning, that night, he left three pairs of just cut out shoes. In the morning, again, he found three pairs of finely sewn shoes. They wondered, who could be treating us so kindly? So they decided to hide in the closet that night, looking through the ski hole. 5 minutes of silence went by. Then two little old elves, their clothes oh so ragged, came into the store and started getting to work on the pair of shoes. That morning, they decided that night was Christmas Eve. The shoemaker's wife decided to make little outfits for the elves. Green pants, red coats, and black hats. They hid in the closet after they laid out the two full outfits for the winter time. The two little old shivering elves that night came walking into the shop. They were shivering like crazy. They started dancing all around the shop right after they got their new outfits on. Then they danced out the door, yelling, "Merry Christmas!" The shoemaker and his wife had the best Christmas they had ever had, and the elves were never to return.
I hope you took notice that Lily purposely dressed in the colors of the elves' clothes tonight. She told me when she came in, she said, "I changed my outfit at the last minute." Great job, Lily. Thank you so much. Now, you may, our next storyteller, let me see, Julian. He is with me for his first year, and he has chosen to tell a noodlehead story tonight. Now, Julian confided in me last week that storytelling is his favorite after-school program. Boy, did that make my heart smile. Extra points for Julian. He has a lot of fun with this story, and I know you will enjoy it too. Please welcome Julian Lee sharing a folk tale from Moldavia.
Hello, I am Julian Lees and I will be telling a story from Moldavia. The ninny who didn't know himself. One seeing farmer decided to visit his cousins who lived a good distance away. He set off on a 2-day walk and at the end of the first day, tired and hungry, he stopped at an inn. The innkeeper said, "I only have one bed left. You're welcome to stay if you don't mind sharing a room." "Not at all, duh," the farmer replied. Please wake me early. I'm anxious to see my cousins. Duh. So, he soon found that he was sharing a room with a priest. They talked a bit and soon fell fast asleep. The innkeeper woke the farmer up early. It was still dark out. He got dressed quickly and soon he stopped to rest at a tree. When he glanced down at himself, he saw he was wearing the priest's robes. He didn't realize he had put the priest's clothes on. Instead, he thought he must be the priest. Now I need to go back to the inn and wake myself. Duh. He kept calling the innkeeper names on the way back. Ninny, Nitwit, Numbskull. Anybody who would know who the real fool was. Duh.
You certainly made this story his own. Thank you so much, Julian. All right. Now, closing out our first half of the festival is another storyteller who was with me for a second year. Now, last year, he was one of our quieter students. He did a fabulous job, but, he was generally, sat pretty much by himself in class and was quiet. And he joined again this year, and I was so delighted that he did. But this year, no problem at all. He's not only blossomed into an exceptional student, but a confident storyteller, always ready to jump right in, saying, "I'll sacrifice myself, I'll volunteer in class every time." And please welcome Kian O'Connor sharing a traveling folktale from the United States.
My name is Kian O'Connor, and I will be telling the story of the belly button monster. Once there was a boy named Jimmy. Now Jimmy was a good little boy. He minded his mother, his father, and his teachers. But there was one thing Jimmy could not seem to do. He could not seem to keep his blankets on at night. Every night when Jimmy fell asleep, swoosh, he threw his blankets off. One night, his mother came into his room and said,
Now, Jimmy, it's been cold and you've been sick. Keep your blankets on.
I'll try, Mom, said Jimmy.
as he tightened every part of his body up trying to keep the blankets on him. But when he fell asleep, swoosh, he threw his blankets off. This time, his father came into his room and said, "Jimmy, it's been cold and you've been sick and it's the middle of the night. Keep your blankets on." "I'll try, Dad," said Jimmy, as he loosened every part of his body, trying something different from tightening it. But when he fell asleep, swoosh, he threw his blankets off. This time his mother and his father came into his room yelling, "Jimmy, if you don't keep your blankets on, the belly button monster will steal your belly button." There's no such thing as a belly button monster. Yes, there is. Yes, there is. Just at that moment, the belly button monster was flying overhead and landed next to Jimmy. Looked down at Jimmy's belly button and said, "That belly button looks better than the penguin in the suit." So he reached down, plucked it, put it in his belly button sack, and flew off happily. You could tell which one was Jimmy's because it was the nicest looking one of all. The next morning, Jimmy didn't even know anything had happened. He went down for a glass of milk, but when he took a drink, it just went out the hole where his belly button was supposed to be, into his slippers. "Yuck," said Jimmy. So Jimmy went up to take a bath, but he was constantly pushing on his stomach to get water out. So that night, Jimmy fell asleep with a plan. That night, the belly button monster landed next to Jimmy again, trying to see if he had any more magnificent belly buttons. But all he got was Jimmy yelling, "Give me my belly button back!" Okay, she's fine. The belly button monster has never had a child yell at him. So he reached into his belly button bag, grabbed Jimmy's belly button. You could tell which one it was because it was the nicest looking one of all. And he put it closer and closer and on his ear. "You look good with a belly button on your ear." "Just put it on my stomach." So the belly button monster plucked the belly button and put it closer and on his nose. "You'll become awfully famous with a belly button on your nose." "I don't want to be famous, I just want to have a normal belly button." So the belly button monster reached down, plucked Jimmy's belly button, and put it closer and on his stomach. And then the belly button monster flew off sadly, and Jimmy was happy. The end.
Oh, right. So many wonderful voices in that story, Keegan. Thank you so much. Now, as I said, we're going to have the storytellers come up, take a group photo. We'll have an intermission, and then the second half of our festival. Opening the second half of our festival is a brand new storyteller with us for his first year. Now, last summer, he joined my summer program, Playing with Pourquoi Stories, and he was so involved and invested, I knew he would be a fabulous storyteller, and I encouraged him. I said, "Oh, I would love for you to join," and he did, and I was delighted, and he has not disappointed me. Mature beyond his years, he is always ready to participate and add something interesting to his story, even adding a fun accent for one of his characters. Please welcome. Excuse me. Having a little bit of a problem here with this tonight. Please welcome William Allen sharing a folk tale from Latvia.
Hello everybody, my name is William Allen, and I will be telling the story of the Three Knots. Once upon a time, there was a man and a woman who had one son, and from his earliest days, the boy was drawn to water, and he would often go play at the local pond. However, his mother was always worried that he would fall in. But no matter what she did, he would always find a way to get back to the pond. So, the boy's parents decided to take him to an old sailor. That way, the sailor could teach the boy how to sail the seven seas. At first, the sailor was skeptical about whether the boy had enough guts to sail. He checked the boy out to see if he was worthy, and he thought he was. So, and the boy and the sailor trained for many years, and at the last day of their training, the sailor gifted the boy a rope with 3 knots in it. And he said if the boy undid the first knot, a calm breeze would blow, and if he undid the second knot, then all would be calm, no wind at all. And if he undid the third knot, then a huge storm would blow in and blow away any enemy pirates. So, because calm breezes followed him wherever he went, the boy became known as the Lucky Skipper. One day, the Lucky Skipper was sailing and set his anchor at a nearby island kingdom. He came to the island kingdom for trading and fishing, but he realized that there was a problem. The prince on the island had to travel to a different island kingdom far away to marry that island kingdom's princess. But there was not good weather for sailing. There was no wind. So the Lucky Skipper decided to undo the first knot so he could carry the prince to the faraway island. So the prince boarded his ship and sailed away. Then, when they managed to get to the island, the prince made it just in time for his princess. But the Lucky Skipper also found his love there too. He found a lady there and was eventually married. One day, after many years of marriage, the Lucky Skipper was sleeping in bed with his maiden when an evil king snuck into the kingdom. Very sneakily, one of the evil king's pirates kidnapped the Lucky Skipper's bride. The Lucky Skipper, waking up with a start, realized that his wife was gone, and he instantly knew what to do. He ran out of his home and boarded the ship. He saw the pirates take his wife away, but he undid the third knot on his rope, and a giant storm rolled in. Although the weather was tough, the Lucky Skipper managed to rescue his wife. One strike of lightning ruined the evil king's ship. The Lucky Skipper undid the second knot so all would be calm again, and then rescued his wife. Many years later, the Lucky Skipper and his wife decided to move back to the Lucky Skipper's homeland to build a family. And just like the Lucky Skipper's parents, they had one son. And just like the Lucky Skipper himself, this boy was drawn to water. But unlike his father, this boy would love to throw random objects into the nearby pond. He would throw pots and vases and often make boats out of them. And one day, the little boy came to the rope with the 3 knots in it. And just like he did with the pots and vases, took it and chucked it into the flowing river. Never to be seen again. But wouldn't it be fun if one of us could find it? Thank you.
Nicely done, William. Thank you for starting us off in our second half. Now, our next performance is by a tandem team made up by an experienced storyteller with me for her second year and a first-year storyteller, but I bet you can't tell the difference. Nadia performed solo last year, but teamed up with Kira this year. Nadia is always ready for fun, the first to raise her hand if I need a volunteer. Kira is a talented young lady who always works very hard on her assignments and she and Nadia make a terrific team. Please welcome Nadia Inc. and Kira Murphy sharing a folktale from Canada.
Hi, my name is Nadia Enk,
And I'm Kira Murphy.
and today we will be telling the story of Tilly. There once was a girl named Tilly who loved to scare herself. She begged her parents to have her bedroom in the attic because it was the scariest room in the house.
One night while in bed, she heard a strange voice say, "Tilly, I'm coming to get you." Chills went up and down her spine, but Tilly loved it.
The next night she heard,
"Tilly, I'm coming up the stairs."
Tilly was excited. She never had a real life scary thing happen to her.
And the next night she heard, "Tilly, no. Creak, 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 creak."
And then,
"Tilly, I'm on the top stair." Now Tilly was beginning to get a little nervous. She told her parents about the voice, but they just laughed. Her father said, "Anyone who wants her room in the attic has to expect to hear some creepy noises now and then."
the next night she heard the strange voice say,
"Tilly, I'm by your door."
Tilly hid out their cupboard shaking. The next night she asked her parents if she could sleep in their room, but her mother said,
"Don't be silly, Tilly. It's just that wild imagination of yours."
So the next night she slept in her room and she heard the then she heard the door open.
Creak.
And then,
"Tilly, I'm in the room." Tilly wanted to scream, but nothing came out.
and then,
"Tilly, I'm by your bed."
Tilly wanted to run, but she couldn't move. And then she heard the strange voice say,
"Tilly, Tilly, I've got you." And then she woke up, but there was nothing there. It had all been a dream.
That's what we call a jump tail. How many of you jumped? Wow, you got them, ladies. You got them. Great job. Great job. It was fun to watch the kids, their peers in school. Whoa. Thank you. Now, you might think you're seeing double in our next storyteller because his brother, his identical twin, told in the first half. They have been so incredibly patient with me this year because I don't think I got their names correct once. They are so good. As Kobe began to work on his story during class time, he was usually pretty reserved. However, the first time he shared his story with the class, his natural comic talent, just like his brother, came through. He does a wonderful job with this noodlehead story from Algeria. Please welcome Kobe Lees.
My name is Kobe Leach. You'll probably notice that I'm wearing weird clothes. The only reason for that is because What are those? The farmer tried to trick him because of how foolish he was. They're donkey eggs. All you need to do is put them in a warm, sunny place and they will hatch. So the boy rolled them up the mountain. Eventually he got tired and he fell asleep on the watermelon. He slept off the watermelon. It rolled down the hill and cracked in half. It startled the bunny nearby. The boy thought it was his baby donkey. So he went chasing after it and he yelled out loudly, My baby donkey already has long ears and I'm sure its tail will soon grow long too. Boo! That boy's probably still out there chasing his baby donkey. The end.
Now, nowhere in the story does it say that boy's wearing those clothes, so I love that he came up with that. Wonderful job, Kobe told you, pretty funny. Our next storyteller is a 5th grade student, and from the very first day she's been engaged, willing to try out any new activity, and is always willing to listen to suggestions to improve her story, and she's done a wonderful job making this story her own. Please welcome Gianna Longo sharing a folktale from Japan.
Hi, my name's Gianna Longo, and I'll be telling the story of the terrible leap. Once long ago, there lived an old man and an old woman. It was a dark and rainy night in early summer in Japan. They were laying there, listening to the sound of the rain on the roof, talking. The old man asked, "Dear, what are you most afraid of?" "Me? I'm most afraid of among all the humans, a burglar. They could steal anything at any moment." It just so happened that a burglar was looking in the rafters of their shed, trying to steal something. And when he heard this, he smiled. Then the old woman asked, "What are you most afraid of, dear?" "Me, I'm most afraid of, among all the animals, a wolf. A wolf." Just so happened that a wolf was in the rafters of the shed looking for a chicken for his dinner. When he heard this, he thought in his head, "Aha, I am what the old man is afraid of the most." Just then the old man realized, "We shouldn't be afraid of this. We should be afraid of the terrible leak. It could come at any moment on a night like this." The burglar and the wolf hadn't noticed each other yet in the shed, but the burglar was so shocked about the terrible leak, he slipped trying to leave and landed on the wolf. The wolf started sprinting out of the shed because he felt something land on him. The wolf thought it was the terrible leak, so he ran so the terrible leak would fly off of him. The burglar held on as tight as he could so the terrible leak wouldn't eat him up. The wolf ran and ran and ran deep into the forest. The burglar saw a branch on the tree. He snatched it as soon as he could, and he put himself in the hollow of the tree. The wolf felt the weight lifted off his back, but he was so scared he ran and ran back to his cave and hid there for the night. The next morning, the wolf told his friends, Fox, Badger, and Bear, about his crazy adventure last night. Fox and Badger wanted to check it out. So Bear said that he would protect them. Wolf thought they were all crazy, but he still went anyway. Soon, while in the forest, they came across a monkey screaming, there's something in my tree making this horrible noise. What they didn't know was it was actually the burglar just making loud snoring. Fox, the smart one, told the monkey to stick his tail into the tree. That tail tickled the burglar's nose and he woke up. The burglar wondered what it was, so he pulled on it. The monkey screamed, it got my tail! Everybody ran away at that second, lickety-split. Then the monkey tried running with them, but his tail snapped into two. That's why, till this day, some monkeys have short tails. None of them ever found out what the terrible leak was, but you know, don't you? They were actually talking about a rain leak on the roof.
Fabulous, Gianna. Thank you so much. Now, our next performers are two fabulous duos. Sienna is with me for her second year and Sophie for her first, but they have worked together so seamlessly. Throughout our time together, they continue to work and refine their story, always discovering new ideas to make it better. It has been delightful to watch their progress. I know you will find them delightful as well. Please welcome Sienna Johnson and Sophie Lemire sharing a folktale from India.
I'm Sienna Johnson.
And I'm Sophie Lemire.
And today we'll be telling the story of
Who Will Shut the Door? Once upon a time, there were two extremely stubborn sisters. Like, extremely.
And one afternoon, after dinner, a cold wind blew the front door open.
Girl, shut the door.
I didn't open it, so I'm not going to shut it.
You were this close.
No, I wasn't. You're closer.
Mm-hmm.
They kept bickering for a while, and then one of the sisters got up and decided to make a deal.
Okay, whoever talks first has to shut the door. Got me?
Deal, and they both shook hands.
Overhearing their conversation, a thief walked by and walked inside their house. He went into the kitchen, opened the jar of cookies, took one out, and ate it. He thought it was so good, he put the whole jar into his bag and walked on upstairs.
As he was walking upstairs, he thought, these idiots, they let me walk straight into the house and they have nothing to even offer. And as he said that, he opened the door to their bedroom and saw a beautiful jewelry box. He opened the jewelry box and saw glamorous gems. He closed the jewelry box and put it in his bag. As he walked downstairs, he grabbed the jewelry box and opened it up to make sure the beautiful gem was still in there. And when the sisters saw he had it, they both jumped up and said,
Stop! You can't touch that! Hey, you talk first!
No, you talk first. I saw you.
Man.
Wait a minute, we have to go get the thief that ran out with it.
Okay.
They both ran out the door to try to get the man.
The man was so nervous that they were going to attack him that he just said, fine, you can have the jewels.
But then I realized they weren't going for the jewels, they were going for the cookies. So I guess you could say that they're too lazy to shut the door. But they'll go chasing a guy for cookies. And from what I've heard, they've never stopped arguing. And they've never shut the door since.
Lovely ladies, lovely for sure. We have another tandem team coming up next, and they've both been with me for 2 years. They are wonderful young women, always eager to listen, always finding ways to enhance their story. I love the way they work together so well. They make it look effortless when I know their success is due to their focus and commitment. Please welcome Samantha Penalt and Aubrey Sawyer sharing a folktale from New Zealand.
My name's Samantha Penalt,
And I'm Aubrey.
and today we're going to be telling Cry Baby Moon.
The moon was crying.
She was crying so loudly that Cloud, who was passing by, stopped fluffing and asked,
Oh, moon, what are you crying for?
I'm crying because I can't see my face in the sea.
Oh, is that all?
That's only because you're too pale. Why don't you make yourself bright yellow, then you can see your face in the sea.
So moon changed her color from white to bright yellow,
Then she floated across the sky and looked down.
but still could not see her face in the sea, and she began to cry again.
She was crying so loudly that Rain, who was passing by, stopped drizzling and asked,
Oh, moon, what are you crying for?
I'm crying because I can't see my face in the sea.
Oh, is that all?
That's only because you're too small. Why don't you make yourself big and round? Then you can see your face in the sea.
So moon waited for several days until she was big and round,
Then she floated across the sky and looked down.
but still could not see her face in the sea, and she began to cry again.
She was crying so loudly that Thunder and Lightning, who were passing by, stopped thundering and flashing and asked,
Oh, moon, what are you crying for?
I'm crying because I can't see my face in the sea.
Oh, is that all?
That's only because you're not dazzling enough. Why don't you dazzle a lot harder? Then you can see your face in the sea.
So moon put on a most dazzling look,
Then she floated across the sky and looked down.
but still could not see her face in the sea, and she began to cry again.
She was crying so loudly that Rainbow, who was passing by, arched his rainbow colors and said kindly,
Beautiful moon, why are you crying? What could you possibly be unhappy about?
I'm crying because I can't see my face in the sea.
Don't you know why you can't see your face in the sea?
No, I don't.
Because the sea is rough, declared Rainbow.
Really?
Yes, really.
Then what should I do?
All you have to do is ask the spirit of the sea. He can still the wind and calm the waves.
So Cloud, Rain, Thunder, and Lightning all stood very still while Moon whispered,
Spirit of the ocean, spirit of the waves, cast your magic upon the sea. Make it smooth and make it calm, so my reflection can smile at me.
Then she floated across the sky and looked down.
She saw a bright yellow, big and round, dazzling reflection smiling back at her.
At last, exclaimed Moon.
I can see my face in the sea.
Beautifully done, ladies. Thank you so much. And last, but certainly not least, our final storyteller is a bit of a firecracker. She has loads of confidence when she takes the stage, and at our very first meeting, she asked if she could share a song with the class. It was a lovely rendition of a song from The Little Mermaid, and I knew right then that she would have no problem performing. She's very animated and uses her voice very effectively to bring her story characters to life. Please welcome Olivia Burkett as she closes out our festival tonight, sharing a fairy tale from France.
Hi, my name is Olivia Susan Burkett, and today I'm going to be telling the story of Toads and Diamonds. Once long ago, there lived a homely old widow and her 2 daughters. The oldest girl was what looked exactly like her mother and had an especially ill temper. But the youngest, however, was quite pretty and had a sweet for nature. And the mother favored the oldest daughter and made the youngest do all the housework. One of her daily tasks is to go out to the well in the forest, which is a mile away from the cottage. And one day, while she was going to the well, she saw an old woman begging for water. She said, "May I have some water? I haven't had any in 3 days." "Of course you may have some. I'll even hold it up for you." Once the woman was done taking her fill, she said, "I'm actually a fairy in disguise. I want to see if your manners matches what's within your beauty. And I am proud to say it does. I am here to give you a wonderful gift. Every time thou pretty mouth speaks, a rose or a sparkling diamond will fall out of your mouth." So the girl realized what time it was by the sun. She quickly fetched the pail of water and ran home. The mother was furious. "I'm sorry, mother, for talking so long." As she spoke, 3 red roses and 2 sparkling diamonds fell out of her mouth. "What is the meaning of this?" she said. "Your sister should have this gift, not you." "Dearest," she called to the oldest daughter. "What do you want?" she said. "Go out to the well, fetch a pail of water, and there's going to be an old woman begging for water. Make sure to give her some, okay?" "No, I don't do any housework. Silly little rats like Sis do that." "No. Go do it or you find yourself chopping the firewood tonight." "Fine, then." She grabbed the bucket and ran off to the well. She saw the old woman, and the old woman said, "May I have some water? I have not had any in 3. "No, I'm not your servant. I don't get you water. Get yourself. You have arms and legs." The woman said, "I'm actually fair in disguise. I want to see if your ugliness matches your manners, and I am proud to say it does." "Now I'm going to give you an ugly curse. Every time thou disgusting mouth speaks, toads or snakes will fall out of thy mouth." The oldest daughter was so shocked, she dropped the pail and ran home quickly. She said, "Mother, look what this ugly witch did to me." As she spoke, 3 slithering snakes and 2 slimy toads fell out of her mouth. "This is your sister's fault. I will beat her to the end of her days." When the youngest sister heard this, she said, "I can't stay here anymore." She quietly packed her things and ran out the back door. She hid behind a tree. She could faintly hear her mother yelling. Wow, she's loud. And then a man comes trotting along on his horse and says, why are you crying? You're so beautiful. What is there to cry about?" She told the man the whole entire story. It was very long. And then he hopped off his horse, picked her on, put her on the horse, and galloped away. The fairy who used to work for the prince saw them both riding together. She gave a wink, and they lived happily ever after. The end.
Told you, firecracker. Thank you, Olivia. You did such a beautiful job. All of you did. Storytellers, I'm going to ask you to please stand up, face the audience, and take another bow. Now, we have a small award ceremony. I'm going to ask my grandson Mason to come down here. He promised to give me a hand over here. Now, I think you probably noticed that when the students were up on stage telling, what I love most to see is the camaraderie between everybody. They fully support each other. They're there to just make sure that they pay attention, that they applaud, there's high fives, and they do that in class all year. As you know, public speaking is so difficult, and they have done a wonderful job tonight. I'm so proud of all of you. So as I call your name, please come up, okay? Hold on 1 second. Thank you. Aria Pereira. Shania Picard. Don't you know how they dress alike? I love that. Ben Avila. And I should tell you what I'm giving them as my gift to them is a book and also an applause award. That tells them exactly what they need to remember when they're on stage, and of course applause for their good work. Jalen is for, hold on, honey. Jalen had to leave early, so I will see her on Monday. Eva Brightman. Keegan Baker. Lily Morse. Julia Lees. Keen O'Connor. William Allen. Nadia Inc. Kira Murphy. Our very own two twins over there. Kobe Lees. We'll see him on TV one day, for sure. Gianna Longo. Sienna Johnson. Sophie Lemire. Decided to dress alike tonight too. Really nice. I just noticed that. Samantha Pinault. Aubrey Sawyer. Olivia Burkett. Always bittersweet because some of my students I won't see next year, and I've had some of them for 2 years, some of them just for 1 year, but they're all really special to me, and they always do such a great job. And I want to thank all of you for allowing me to oh my goodness, what's going on here? Wonderful. Thank you so much. Isn't that great? As I was saying, thank you, children. Thank you so much. That's wonderful of you. And I want to thank you, parents, for allowing me to share this time from October to now with your children. They really, really enrich me, and they honestly teach me so much all the time. That helps me in my work, not only in my teaching, but in my performance as well. They are amazing. I think you all agree. Give them another round of applause. Thank you. Have a wonderful weekend, a wonderful night, and thank you again for